Greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to remind everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe. There's a PayPal link down there for anybody who wants to share some love. Always appreciated. And, of course, the StreamYard link is there for anybody that wants to join the panel. We're going to talk today about United States account and U.S. financial institution. Some definitions we're going to go through. Stemming from 15 U.S.C. 4724, another set of definitions where it tells us that a United States business means a United States citizen. So as a United States citizen means a United States business, what kind of business? And so we're going to talk about the United States account and U.S. financial institutions, find out what's going on there. And the first thing I want to look at is a FinCEN page. Let me pull that up. And this is FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Financial institution definition. Financial institution includes any person doing business in one or more of the following capacities. Remember that term, capacity. We're going to talk about this at the very end as it goes beyond a presumption. One is a bank, except bank credit card systems. Broker or dealer in securities. What kind of securities? U.S. securities or foreign securities? Foreign securities would be known as private securities as it relates to the people here on the American soils. We are domestic. The corporation is foreign. Money services business. Money services business. Telegraph company, casino, card club, which is kind of like a casino. A person subject to supervision by any state or federal bank supervisory authority. What do you have to do when you go to a bank to open up a bank account or cash a check or something? Can I see your ID? Can I see your ID? That's a commercial license. For the regulatory definition of financial institution, see 31 CFR 1010.100. And we have John with us here this morning. How you doing today, John?
Hey, how you doing, Keith?
I am well. Woke up a little bit earlier than I normally do, being a late night researcher. But we woke up, it's 60 degrees already, so we're doing good.
Sounds good. I was just playing a song last night. We're not gonna take it.
Yeah.
All right.
And now Athletes Gertra says yes. This is definitely an abridged definition. Just about everything falls into financial institution. You're absolutely correct. We're going to go over some definitions. You're going to see how widely or ambiguous that term is. And we got Dino's. How you doing, Dean? How you doing? Good to see you again.
Doing all right. Blessed every day.
Good to hear. Good morning. That was Robin we heard in the background, everybody. How you doing, dear?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. Well, as we've been talking about that United States citizen and the resident. and how that's been that person across the board. Everything we do, everything I've been telling you, every document you sign is some kind of instrumentality of the government used to invest in securities. And that's what we're looking at today is how that's instituted. So let's take a look at the next page before we get into the definitions in the U.S. code and stuff.
Can I ask about that though? I mean,
Sure.
isn't that blatantly making merchandise of your fellow man? I mean,
That I'm going to agree with you because it is, but it's not so. It's not that it's so blatantly. Again, with that public education system, the English that we're taught is not what we're supposed to be taught. It's concise English, and the English in the school, they do not teach you concise English. They teach you the political English so that you can get in, and that's what these local municipalities are. They're political subdivisions. Counties and municipalities are known as political subdivisions, and all of their zoning starts from the school zoning. Your school is the one that determines your classification as you grow up in age. So that's the determination center in your communities is your public education's school zonings, where they have the districts and the tax zones, things like that, voting zones, and they're all pretty much done by the school zones according to incomes and political party divisions and stuff. So we're going to take a look at first one here is how are the Social Security trust funds invested? Because that's one of the first things you do when you bring your children up into this society, aside from the Social Security enumeration at birth. You start using that for the first thing in life, aside from medical, for your children is the public education system. And so the Social Security trust funds are accounts managed by the U.S. Treasury. So I don't care what state says what about any of their statutes, codes, rules, and regulations when they demand an ID that is dependent upon you going to that DOT or the DMV with a birth certificate and a Social Security card. That's the base foundation of all identification.
so I was just looking into that. How interesting, because I got a response from the Attorney General's office that included this 14-page list of public records exemptions applicable to the Attorney General's office. And they're bringing up the Public Records Act. And I mean, it's basically, I just hadn't read it all or read it with this mind that I had just recently. But it's basically saying they're not going to give out driver's license numbers, any other identification numbers. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I'm getting annoyed at having to flash an identification just to buy cannabis, no matter where I go. It's like, why should I have to? That's basically a public records request. They're requesting records, and I should be able to deny them records and then claim I'm being discriminated against if they won't sell me cannabis.
Yeah, and that's why you're familiar with Malika and the redress through Homeland Security.
Right.
That's what we're gearing up for here is a correction of the records through a misidentification, and that misidentification is a matter of redress, and that's the Homeland Security redress.
Well, I shouldn't even have the point is by these rules in the RCWs of Washington, it's basically saying that nobody has to give that information because that's giving up your private information. So how do I get my state level redress number so that when I go get cannabis, I just give them the number and go, fuck you, give me what I want.
Yeah. We're working on it, brother. We're working on it.
That's what he said about supplemental and his short last night. It's very important, right? Yeah.
Yep. We've got to remember that the biggest thing about this system we've got again is they indoctrinate us to remember certain things, and that doesn't tell us to think for ourselves. It doesn't tell us to think outside the box, nothing like that. And when it comes to everything we do in life, we've been indoctrinated to look at the information on an application and say, okay, it's good information. We've got to stop that. We've got to start learning how to read these instruments and learn how to correct them for the language that they're misusing, which is causing us to misidentify ourselves.
Exactly. So I'm dealing with the Social Security. They're asking me questions now. They're saying, "Oh, so I'm trying to access those funds," and they're basically giving me grief about it and saying, "Oh, so you're saying this is your Social Security number?" And I have to correct them and say, "No, I keep saying it's your Social Security number. I'm just the beneficiary." You know what I mean?
Right.
But they keep wanting to put these words in my mouth. They literally wrote a letter saying, "This is what you're saying," and I'm like, "Yeah, no." It's like,
right. And we're talking about capacities there. The capacity in which we get to use the number that was assigned to the individual's name to create a record. That record can be accessed by many people, and that's what the Freedom of Information Act and the Privacy Act are all about. When we're the ones that are the principal, we have ultimate right. We have exclusive right, actually, to correct the record, because we're the ones that are creating that record, not them. So again, it's the public education system that doesn't teach us the proper use of the nouns, verbs, adverbs, and all that. And we really need to get down to that. So let's get back to the Investopedia. It says the two funds take in Social Security payroll taxes from workers and their employers and pay out benefits to Social Security recipients. They invest any surplus in special issue U.S. government debt securities. So the Social Security used to be standalone payroll taxes, and it was not a federal government investment program. It remained with the people. Well, now they have it. Now they're using it as an investment program, where if there's anything above and beyond what is paid out to the Social Security recipients, then what's left in that account is goes towards investment. They get to invest that and make an income on it. Okay. So the first set of definitions I have here is 31 CFR 1010.100, according to the first thing that we read from FinCEN. And as you can see, it's a nice lengthy set of definitions, but we're going to go over a few of them here and show you something. Let's see, it's a long set of definitions. They've got transaction account, transmittal funds, transaction. What is a transaction? Let's look at that one first. It says, except as provided in paragraph BBBB2 of this section, transaction means purchase, sale, loan, pledge, gift, transfer, delivery, or other disposition. And with respect to a financial institution, includes a deposit, withdrawal, transfer between accounts, exchange of currency, loan, extension of credit. Remember that? What's that? Credit card means any plate or any card, plate, coupon book, or other credit device used to obtain money, property, labor, or services on credit. That's a blank piece of paper that you can draw up as a negotiable instrument. It includes every piece of paper that you can put credit into and then give to somebody else. That is an extension of credit. Purchase or sale of any stock, bond, certificate of deposit, or other monetary instrument. Security, contract of sale of a commodity for future delivery, option on any contract of sale of a commodity for future delivery, option on a commodity, purchase or redemption of any money order. It's a promise if it's a note. It's an order if it's a draft. Payment or order for any money, remittance, or transfer. Payment or order for any money, remittance, or transfer. Purchase or redemption of casino chips or tokens, or other gaming instruments, or any other payment, transfer, or delivery by, through, or to a financial institution by whatever means affected. By whatever means affected. Again, we'll take a look at the last definition today, and we're going to show you something. So let's look. I want to remember to look at where was it? I just saw it. Prepaid access. Remember, I did a video on prepaid expenses. We're going to take a look at this, and it says access to funds or the value of funds that have been paid in advance and can be retrieved or transferred at some point in the future through an electronic device or vehicle, such as a card, code, electronic serial number, mobile identification number, or personal identification number. So that Social Security card with the personal identification number on it is such a prepaid access card to extend credit. Okay? Go up all the way to the top now. We're going to start out with the first one is, when used in this chapter and in forms prescribed under this chapter, were not otherwise distinctly expressed or manifestly incompatible with the intent thereof. Terms shall have the meanings described in this subpart. Terms applicable to a particular type of financial institution or specific part or subpart of this chapter are located in that subpart or part or subpart. Terms may have different meanings in different parts or subparts. Except a receiving financial institution other than the recipient's financial institution accepts a transmittal order by executing the transmittal order. So, except is a receiving financial institution other than the recipient's financial institution. So the recipient himself could be a financial institution, accepts a transmittal order by executing the transmittal order. See, we're doing it, folks. We're the ones that are executing the transmittal orders, and nobody's taught us how or why or that that's what we're doing. A recipient's financial institution accepts a transmittal order by paying the recipient, by notifying the recipient of the receipt of the order, or by otherwise becoming obligated to carry out the order. At one time. For purposes of 1010.340 of this part, a person who transports, mails, ships, or receives, or is about to, or attempts to transport, mail, or ship, or cause the transportation, mailing, shipment, or receipt of monetary instruments is deemed to do so at one time if that person, either alone or in conjunction with or on behalf of others, transports, mails, ships, or receives in any manner, is about to transport, mail, or ship in any manner, or cause the transportation, mailing, shipment, or receipt in any manner of monetary instruments into the United States or out of the United States, totaling more than $10,000 on one calendar day, or if for the purpose of evading the reporting requirements on one or more days. So, at one time, the first day of receiving inpatient hospital treatment, the day you're born in a spell of illness, and they create a document that is entered in by the birth clerk that has a value of well over $10,000. You guys understand that? Is there any question on that?
Way over that, Keith.
Yes, LexisNexis. Please, Gutra's on it. LexisNexis Consumer Report. Get that thing cleared off. That's what they're using. Freedom of Information Act. They're using that to perpetrate every aspect of your life.
And it starts with labor credits that we pledged. I didn't do that. No one asked me to do it.
Yep, that's the presumption. That's the implication. So, as we look further into it, we got bank. Each agency or branch or office within the United States of any person doing business in one or more of the capacities listed below. Remember those capacities from FinCEN. A commercial bank or trust company organized under the laws of any state or of the United States. A private bank. A savings and loan association or a building and loan association organized under the laws of any state or the United States. Any insured institution as defined in Section 401 of the National Housing Act. A savings bank, industrial bank, or other thrift institution. You know, that's a spendthrift savings fund in the Social Security Administration that they're operating. It's called the Mark IV Trust. A credit organization organized under the law of any state or of the United States. A credit union organized, which means they can't operate as a standalone bank. Any other organization chartered under the banking laws of any state and subject to the supervision of the bank supervisory authorities of a state. A bank organized under foreign law. Any national banking association or corporation acting under the provisions of Section 25A of the Act of December 23rd, 1913, this Bank Secrecy Act. That's what they talk about right here. Currency and Foreign Transactions Reporting Act. So if it's the Currency and Foreign Transactions Reporting Act, is anybody transacting domestically if we have no national bank? We have Federal Reserve banks as a central bank that issue reserve currencies, but we have no national bank that has something that backs the national currency to issue national currency. So we're left with a monopoly on a reserve currency.
Yep, the home office is offshore, it seems.
Yep. The beneficiary, the person to be paid by the beneficiary's bank. So why are you paying the bank for the account if you're supposed to be paid by the bank? Okay. Who paid you? The employer? And then you took that check, that monetary instrument, and committed a transaction. Common carrier, any person engaged in the business of transporting individuals or goods. So what is the individual and why are you transporting it? The individual is the identification, the bank card, the social security card. All of those are individuals. The individual's name and number identify the record. And you are holding a card that helps identify the record. Therefore, you are a liable party by a holder of a monetary instrument for committing such transactions in public by your very activities.
But the record is false.
Absolutely, because
So
we've never been taught how to enter the correct information. Go ahead.
Yep, that's exactly it. If we keep doing it, Keith, they're going to keep letting us.
Yep. It's a free will. It's your free will. Says, or goods for a fee who holds himself out as ready to engage in such transportation for hire and who undertakes to do so indiscriminately for all persons who are prepared to pay the fee for the particular service offered. So, anytime you have an ID that's showing you're holding yourself out, when you take that thing out of your pocket and you hold it out to somebody else, you're holding yourself out. You go to Walmart to get a money transfer, guess what? They want that damn ID and they want to hold it in their hands. I don't let them do that. And they try to refuse me. So, well, I can't unless I see the ID. And I insist the English language, according to your policy, does not say that you have to hold the card. It says you must get the identification information. Therefore, as holder of the instrument, I get to enforce it. Okay, I'm the one that's holding it. Therefore, I'm the one that's liable. So if I understand the law correctly, you as a clerk for Walmart, if I hand you this card, you become liable. I'm not going to transfer that liability because I'm afraid you're not going to do it right because you don't understand that as holder of the card, you are liable. And then when you turn around and tell me to enter my answer on that machine that says I have received the funds, I can't do that because that clerk won't hand me the funds until I sign it. And that signing says I'm lying by saying I have received the funds when I haven't. I don't play these games. You're going to fix your system or I just ain't going to use it. Like I said, yeah, I've got a PayPal and the donations are appreciated, but that's the only route I found so far that will allow me to receive donations without having to transfer some kind of liability. Even a money transfer that somebody wants to donate in that transaction face to face with somebody else, they want to screw up the liabilities and stuff, and I'm not willing to do that anymore. I'm more willing to help people correct their language, and that's all I'm doing.
And the DL, Keith, assumes that we're some kind of common carrier of a
Yep.
listing agreement.
Yep.
But I never took oath.
Exactly. When you go to court and you sign that document, guess what that is? That's the presumption that you took an oath. The next one is currency. The coin and paper money of the United States or of any other country that is designated as legal tender. The coin and paper money. What is a monetary instrument? It's a piece of paper. You can write a contract on a piece of paper. Isn't that part of the definition of transaction? Sale of contract. So isn't that a monetary instrument as well? See how ambiguous this gets? Deposit account. Deposit accounts include transaction accounts. Domestic, when used herein, refers to the doing of business within the United States and limits the applicability of the provision where it appears to the performance by such institutions or agencies of functions within the United States. So they're saying domestic is the United States. And that would only be for persons doing business. Federal functional regulators, the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, the Office of Comptroller of Currency, Board of Directors of Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the Office of Thrift Supervision, there's that thrift fund again, the National Credit Union Administration, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Financial institution. Each agent, agency, branch, or office within the United States of any person doing business. So the United States citizen, a nationality conferred upon you when you're born through the enumeration at birth, is a United States business. That's the financial institution, folks. In one or more of the capacities listed below, a bank, a broker, dealer in money securities, and money service businesses are defined in paragraph FF of this section, a telegraph company, a casino, card club, any person subject to supervision by any state, federal, bank, supervisory authority. Foreign bank. A bank organized under foreign law or an agency, branch, or office located outside the United States of a bank. The term does not include an agent, agency, branch, or office within the United States of a bank organized under foreign law. Foreign financial agency. A person acting. That's what we're going to take a look at in the very last definition. Outside of the United States for a person as a financial institution, bailee, depository trustee, or agent, or acting in a similar way related to money, credit, securities, gold, or transaction in money, credit, securities, or gold. Anybody got any questions on that one? I think that one's pretty clear. And greetings. Go ahead.
And what else does institution mean, Keith, besides banking?
Well, it's anything that you institute for the purpose of doing whatever you're doing. It's an action.
I think it means that we're mental too.
Oh, mental institute, yes. That's how we institutionalize the material things in our life, is through our mentality. Yes, I see where you're going. Let me drop the link for anybody else that might want to come up. What about postal money orders? We just went over that. That is part of a transaction, a financial transaction, of course. Yes, and it's all according to the performance of functions of public office. As we see here, this is acting in a similar way. Acting in a similar way. That's all it takes, folks. That's plain writing. Greetings, Russ. How you doing today?
Good, brother. How are you guys? Hope everyone's doing good. All of these transfers that these organizations and these institutions are going through what they call the cashiering department, aren't they? And they're the ones that are actually, from what I've gathered, I was looking at a document from my mortgage a few years back, revisiting that, and I noticed a couple things there. And that cashiering department also relates to that cage.
Yes, the commercial and government entity.
Yes.
That's and see that's why I say this term is so ambiguous, and people really need to comprehend what's going on, because everything you've been doing all your life has been acting in a similar way that allows a presumption to ride, and that's all it is across the board. This is why you have to let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. You have to make a declaration. Without that declaration, their declaration of conferring a nationality upon you through enumeration of birth is going to stick, and ain't nobody going to say anything about it. Nobody. Most people don't know anything about it. They haven't done their research. They don't go deep like I do. I mean, I've got 20 some windows open up here in front of me, guys, on my laptop, to go over these definitions and bring a presentation to you today. So what we're doing today, in a matter of a couple hours here, it took me a few hours just to research and pull it up and set something aside to do this. So there's a lot more than just doing these videos and putting this information out. The research that I get involved in is deep research, and I'm not going to stop. So
neither am I. So
yeah, Dean puts down there, and pay attention. He's absolutely right. Same with the dog tracks. You go to the cashier at the casino. It's called the cage.
Right, and I'd like to add that cashiering department is also a brokerage firm.
Yes, we're all
responsible for the receipts and delivery of cash and securities.
Yep, and that's what we're acting like, acting in a similar fashion as a broker, because we're the ones that are brokering the deal. In fact, but we're not putting our terms and conditions on there. We're not actually brokering the deal. We're accepting it as already brokered and saying, yeah, we're going to broker this. So just like Tried put down there, when one gets a loan, when one gets a loan, they become a partner with the bank. It's a partnership. You have to work together. Yes. So let's go on. I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to cover in here, but we're going to look at it.
I'm not a certifying agency.
Right. Yeah. Investment security. An instrument which is issued in bearer or registered form is a type commonly dealt in upon securities exchanges or markets, or commonly recognized in any area in which it is issued or dealt in as a medium for investment, is either one of a class or series, or by its terms is divisible into a class or series of instruments. Evidence is a share, participation, or other interest in property or in an enterprise, or evidences an obligation of the issuer. So get your receipts out, folks, and tell me if that isn't an evidence of an obligation of the issuer that says U.S. debit. Every last one of those receipts, by this definition, is evidence of an obligation of the issuer of obligations and other securities of the United States, wherein a very plain statement between comma and comma says stamps and other representatives of value. Pure and simple. The stamp is a representative of value. A piece of paper is a representative of value without the terms put on it yet. Once you put the terms and definitions and everything on there, you become an issuer, and it's an evidence of an obligation. Be very careful. Coin your words or purse your lips. Monetary instrument include currency, traveler's checks in any form, all negotiable instruments, and therefore, once again, as paper is instrumental in a fiat currency system, the paper itself is the negotiable instrument in all cases. that are either in bearer form endorsed without restriction, made out to a fictitious payee, or otherwise in such form that title thereto passes upon delivery. So, endorsed without restriction. That's a blank endorsement. So they're taking the negotiable instruments with blank endorsements that otherwise in such form that title thereto passes upon delivery. So what happens if you get a negotiable instrument and you qualify the signature? It's known as conditional acceptance. Now it's no longer negotiable. Incomplete instruments, signed but with the payee's name omitted. Signed but with the payee's name omitted. One's a payor, the other's a payee. The payee is the all uppercase. Securities or stock in bearer form or otherwise in such form that title thereto passes upon delivery. Monetary instruments do not include warehouse receipts or bills of lading. Money, services, business. This is your personal services. This is why I refuse to sign the release paperwork at the local jail. I was no longer willing to grant them money, service, businesses as a personal service. A person, wherever located doing business, whether or not on a regular basis or as an organized or licensed business concern, wholly or in substantial part within the United States. That's that identification. In one or more of the capacities listed in paragraph FF1 through FF7 of this section. This includes, but is not limited to, maintenance of any agent, agency, branch, or office within the United States. That United States citizen is an agent of the United States, and you are maintaining it. You're the one that keeps saying you're the citizen. You're the one that has that ID in your pocket. Dealer in foreign exchange, check casher. Issuer or seller of traveler's checks or money orders. Provider of prepaid access. In general, a provider of prepaid access is the participant within a prepaid program that agrees to serve as the principal conduit for access to information from its fellow program participants. The participants in each prepaid access program must determine a single participant within the prepaid program to serve as the provider of prepaid access. What do you think? Is that a definition you like or not?
Yeah, I think it falls all in line.
It's telling you a lot right here in these definitions, isn't it? And I'm just on the first one. I still got 10 more to go.
Well, you know, well, been beating that dead horse for quite some time.
Yeah, I hear you. But that dead horse is going to get up and rise and ride again one of these days.
Very soon.
All right, so let's take a look. I don't think there's any more. Prepaid program. Is an arrangement under which one or more persons acting together provides prepaid access. Does that sound like Social Security? That's prepaid access to benefits, right? You got to pay them first. Prepaid expenses, insurance and taxes, right? Social Security and FICA. They've already been paid, folks. It's known as insurance credits.
Well, also, I might add that cashiering department at all these institutions or organizations, it's a department at a brokerage responsible for receiving and distributing funds as well as maintaining records. The cashier's department enables the rest of the brokerage to function, especially by keeping records of dividends and other payouts and receiving payments from clients. It is formally called the cage.
Yep. Let's see here. Facts and circumstances, limitations. Whether a person is a money transmitter, as described in this section, is a matter of facts and circumstances. The term money transmitter shall not provide or shall not include a person that only provides the delivery, communication, or network access services used by a money transmitter to support money transmission services, act as a payment processor to facilitate the purchase of or payment of a bill for a good or service through a clearance and settlement system by agreement with the creditor or seller. Wow. You're acting as a payment processor to facilitate the purchase of. So it's right from the start. Before the purchase begins, you are acting as a payment processor instead of the benefactor. I'm sorry, I'm just a benefactor. I believe all I need to do is give you my signature in a qualified fashion, denoting that I am the benefactor and I'm supposed to receive the benefit. Okay? Operates a clearance and settlement system or otherwise acts as an intermediary solely between BSA regulated institutions. This includes but is not limited to the Fedwire system, electronic funds transfer networks, certain registered clearing agencies regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and derivatives clearing organizations. That's what you're talking about, Russ. Or other clearinghouse arrangements established by a financial agency or institution. Physically transports currency or other monetary instruments, other commercial paper, or other value that substitutes for currency as a person primarily engaged in such business.
Can you please Can you please provide the original document sourcing the data elements giving authorization to the transfer of credits to an outside third-party corporation outside the interest of the United States all day long? I don't understand why people don't get this.
I know. That's why I say when I got that sales agreement for a local emergency room, and it says clearly on there, it says customer agrees, and this is just a summary. It says basically it says customer agrees to make third party payments so long as it's understood that the credits are given to the customer's account. So if the customer is making the payment and they're supposed to receive credits in their account, what's happening in those books? Because that's the way their sales agreement says. If the customer, myself, agrees to make third-party payments for the equipment and services, then the credit's supposed to be given to the customer's account. So how am I supposed to pay this? Am I supposed to extend credit so that credit comes back? Am I supposed to pay with Federal Reserve notes so that credit comes back? See, it's a conversion. It's a conversion from a definitive paper form into an electronic book entry system. And I don't know how many times I can repeat that. So let's look at the next one. The next one is the definition of bank. We already read that one. Oops. Lost my screen share. Where'd it go? Okay, that's the one we were on. There we go. 31 CFR 561.309. U.S. financial institution. And like I said just a few minutes ago, that United States citizen as a United States business is such a U.S. financial institution by these definitions. Says the term U.S. financial institution, and notice it's all one word there. There's no space. Why do they do that? I wonder if that's an error. But it says U.S. financial institution all in one word, means any U.S. entity that is engaged in the business of accepting deposits, making, granting, transferring, holding, or brokering loans or credits, or purchasing or selling foreign exchange. That's what you're doing. You're selling foreign exchange and you don't know it. You're issuing your own private securities, and they're investing in them as a investment for the United States as a foreign entity. Okay? Securities, commodity, futures, or options, or procuring purchasers and sellers thereof as principal or agent. Let's take a look. Remember the other day I said entity is just merely entitlement. It means an entitlement. Okay? Let's see what they say for entity here. And under 561.316, it says the term entity means a partnership, association, trust, joint venture, corporation, or other organization. So the partnership is again the conveyance of a nationality, the conference of a nationality of United States citizenship upon enumeration at birth. That's the creation of a partnership of some sort, an association of some sort, a trust of some sort, a joint venture of some sort, a corporation of some sort, or other organization of some sort. That's all it means. What is an agent? Agent, under the 31 CFR 561.311, the term agent includes an entity established by a person for purpose of conducting transactions on behalf of the person in order to conceal the identity of the person. I want to ask everybody, why do you have an ID? Why do you so readily give up the identification of the person? And why have they got you convinced that you have to do that? Why do they have us convinced that we have to do that and sign documents? This is what I'm talking about with the public education system doesn't teach us what we need to know. So let's go to the next one. The next one is financial institution according to LIIWEX. And it says a financial institution is defined in 18 U.S. Code 20 as an entity, national or international, that deals primarily in business related to financial and monetary transactions. So it's just anybody dealing with a monetary transaction, namely loans, deposits, investments, currency exchange, or any other transaction of similar nature. So any transaction you get a receipt from would be of similar nature. Don't you get a receipt for everything you purchase? Every transaction you're involved in, you should be getting a receipt. Both sides. Financial institutions therefore encompass banks, trust or insurance companies, credit unions, finance companies, securities firms, leasing companies, etc. You're leasing your personal services. By your actions, the presumption is you're a leasing company. by your actions, the presumption is you're issuing foreign securities. Therefore, you're acting as a securities firm. You're doing it for your own financial purposes. Therefore, it's a finance company. Doing it upon the extension of credit. Therefore, it's a union or partnership of credits. Blah, blah, blah. In that sense, financial institutions constitute a major component of the financial services sector. Financial institutions can be of different natures, private or public, national or international. A dual classification of financial institutions is oftentimes used, putting on one side financial banking institutions and on the other side financial non-banking institutions. That's what Tribe was talking about with the bank is your partner. On one side, it's a banking institution. The other side is a non-banking institution. Banking financial institutions include commercial banks, whose most important role is to deal with loans and deposits and, more broadly, everyday banking transactions. Non-banking financial institutions include investment banks, insurance and leasing companies, whose roles are more specialized and technical, yet no one teaches you how to bank, but expects you to be able to handle the more specialized and technical sides as a common man, non-banking financial institution, right? If that's what the system expects, why are we not doing it? For instance, investment banks' main role is to advise businesses and government entities on how to meet their financial challenges and provide them with a broader expertise on concrete operations. Now, I don't know how many of you would believe that, but I sure as hell don't believe it, because I can't even get a goddamn court to listen to the English as I understand it. Recently had a dismissal for failure to appear for jury duty, and I'll be damned if that person on the bench, two different people, both admitted that the court never obtained personal jurisdiction, yet they felt the need to turn around and send me a notice saying that the costs are taxed to the defendant. Well, if you never got personal jurisdiction over the defendant, then how are you going to charge tax the cost to him or it? Are you trying to create a new issue? Do you understand English? That's going to be my favorite question. Do you understand English? See, they asked me that, and I vehemently said yes. I can't wait for them to answer the same thing. Yes? The fuck you do. And I'm going to refer to 5 CFR 575.102 set of definitions where we find federal government means, and we find out what competencies mean. So if you're competent to understand the United States as a corporation and the federal government, it means all entities of the government of the United States, including the United States Postal Service as registered agent and the Postal Regulatory Commission, then you might be a little bit confused yourself. You may not understand English quite like you say you do. So the next one, 15 U.S. Code 6827. It's got customer. And let's read that one first. The term customer means with respect to a financial institution, any person or authorized representative of a person. So that Social Security card, which authorizes you to represent that person, you are representing as a customer a financial institution once again. It's across the board, folks. Every one of these definitions says that you are acting as a financial institution, and that's all it takes to create that presumption. Customer information of a financial institution means any information maintained by or for a financial institution which is derived from the relationship between the financial institution and a customer of the financial institution and is identified with the customer. See, it's identified with me. It is not my identification. Again, the individual's name and number identify the record. Document means any information in any form. Document means any information in any form. If I'm sitting in the local toilet and I need to write up a contract and all I got is that goddamn toilet paper, I can use that as a document. Financial institution in general. The term financial institution means any institution engaged in the business of providing financial services to customers who maintain a credit, deposit, trust, or other financial account or relationship with the institution. So anytime you're engaged in the business of providing financial services, such as data elements, that's a relationship with the institution. And therefore you become a financial institution acting in the same manner. Securities institution. Broker and dealer have the same meanings as given in Section 78C of this title. Broker. Securities institutions for purposes of subparagraph E. The terms broker and dealer have the same meanings, and the term investment. It's not taking us to the one we want. But it says the term investment advisor has the same meaning as given in Section 80B-2A of 11 of this title. And 3, the term investment company has the same meaning as given in Section 80A-3 of this title. And that's what we're talking about. We're an investment advisor without having the proper information to discern the advisement. So we're giving out information saying we're a resident, and that's not good advice. You're not a resident. You are not a United States citizen. Those are impossibilities. You are deemed a resident the day you were born, not because of necessity, and certainly not because you went before a board of directors to make that discernment and deem it necessary. See, it can't be a volunteer thing. It's got to be necessary. No person shall reside within the zone except federal, state, or municipal officers or agents whose resident presence is deemed necessary by the board. So let's look at the next one. And that is the 15 U.S. Code 80A-3 definition of investment company. When used in this subchapter, investment company means any issuer which is or holds itself out as being engaged primarily or proposes to engage primarily in the business of investing, reinvesting, or trading in securities. Again, if you're signing documents that are going to be securitized and you don't know it, it doesn't matter that you don't know it. You're trading in securities. That's why it's important to understand what those instrumentalities are and how to qualify a signature if you need to. Is engaged or proposes to engage in the business of issuing face amount certificates of the installment type, or has been engaged in such business and has any such certificate outstanding. Is engaged or proposes to engage in the business of investing, reinvesting, owning, holding, or trading in securities. You know that Social Security card is a security. Social Security card is a security. The driver's license, that's a security. Stamp, that's a security. A representative of value is a security. 18 U.S.C. 8. Read it until you comprehend it. Stamps and other representatives of value under the very definition of obligations and other securities of the United States includes all bonds. Let's see here. I don't know if there's anything else. And again, you guys can pull these up and read them yourself if you want to get into anything deeper. But I don't think I remember anything else. And that's another thing. We're talking about assets. Assets. Pooled income fund has the same meaning as in section 642C5 of Title 26. Pooled income. Charitable organization means an organization described in paragraph 1 through 5 of section 170C or section 501C3 of Title 26. Charitable lead trust. Interesting terms. Anyway, let's get on to the next one then. 12 U.S. Code, banking section. 12 U.S. Code, 4001 definitions. Let me check, make sure I still got everybody. Yes, reinvested. So, account means a demand deposit account or other similar transaction account at a depository institution. Cash. The term cash means United States coins and currency, including Federal Reserve notes. So the coins and currency, what's the currency? Currency is the monetary instruments. Negotiable instruments. Commercial paper. That's cash. It's like I've been telling you for a long time. Grab a blank piece of paper. Guess what? That's known as cash. You can write a contract on it and make money. It's an investment. An investment is the creation of money.
See, when I look at it, well, I guess I kind of look at things really deep. When I look at creating that contract and creating that money, that creation has to be in, how do I want to say this? For the benefit of life as a whole. Yep. Otherwise, what would you need with such cash? A thing such as cash, what would you need with it?
Well, see, that's part of the problem. Everybody thinks they need all this money so they can buy these material things and stuff and then save up a bunch so they can buy some more. And if they have a bunch left over at the end of their life, they're just going to hand it to somebody else. That's not the cup welling over. Yeah. The cup wells over in your lifetime, not after you pass away. Okay. The UCC code that defines a person as a corporation, it's not. It's the U.S. code. And what it says is a United States business means a United States citizen. There are many, many definitions of person that will tell you that the person is defined as a corporation. Many of them. So let's take a look. Consumer account means any account used primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. Let's see here. Participant means a depository institution which is located in the same geographic area as that served by a check clearinghouse association. Exchanges checks through the check clearinghouse association either directly or through an intermediary. So again, just like Tribe said, You go and you get a loan with the bank, you are in a partnership, you are participating. Unit of local government. Here we go. This is that contract postal unit I was telling you about. It says the term unit of local government means any city, town, county, township, parish, village, or other general purpose political subdivision of a state. They are political subdivisions, folks. Generated first through the schooling zones, then your voter zones. Okay, the next one. 12 U.S. Code 5002. Definitions, another bank one. Account. The term account means a deposit account at a bank. And we got the definition of a bank again. Collecting bank means any bank handling a check for collection except the paying bank. Depository bank. The term depository bank means the first bank to which a check is transferred, even if such bank is also a paying bank or the payee. Paying bank, returning bank. Board is a board of governors. A business day has the same meaning. Check. Consumer means an individual. Consumer means an individual with respect to a check handled for forward collection, draws the check on a consumer account, or with respect to a check handled for return, deposits the check into or cashes the check against a consumer account. Consumer account has the same meaning in section 4001(10) of this title, which we just read. Customer means a person having an account with a bank. You are the customer. The person you name in that account is the consumer. Indemnifying bank means a bank that is providing indemnity under section 5005 of this title with respect to a substitute check. MICR line. The term MICR line and magnetic ink character recognition line mean the numbers, which may include the bank routing number, account number, check amount, and other information that are printed near the bottom of a check in magnetic ink in accordance with generally applicable industry standards. Person means a natural person. There you go. Corporation, unincorporated company, partnership, government unit, or instrumentality. The address is an instrumentality. The identification is an instrumentality. Public education system is an instrumentality. The Social Security card is an instrumentality. They're all instrumentalities of the government, trust, or any other entity or organization. See, it's not you that is the person. It's the instrumentality. It's the paperwork that has all those names and titles on it. Those are persons. Truncate means to remove an original paper check from the check collection or return process and send to a recipient. You guys understand that? You get a billing statement and you remove an original paper check from the check collection or return process and send it to the recipient. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to truncate it. It's a security instrument. By taking the check off, you have detached it. You have truncated it. In lieu of such original paper check, a substitute check, or by agreement, information relating to the original check, whether with or without subsequent delivery of the original paper check. They're not allowed to account for it at the Treasury if it's not directed to the Treasury. When you tear it off and you send it back to the billing company, they're going to direct it and they're going to do it in their name. They're going to send it to the Treasury and they're going to send it in their endorsement. to their financial institution. Now here we have the U.S. Code, United States Code, and it says Uniform Commercial Code. The term Uniform Commercial Code means the Uniform Commercial Code in effect in a state. That's your statutes. Contract terms and conditions required to implement them means they are commercial items and commercial services according to those statutes or executive orders. Other terms. Unless the context requires otherwise, the terms not defined in this section shall have the same meanings as in the Uniform Commercial Code. So don't tell me that you're going to try to use your state statutes as a cloak for fraud. I'm not going to play your game anymore.
I find all of that interesting, how they do that at the local level anyway, with that whole master commissioner as a Social Security contractor at the state level or the county level. And then, your whole board at the mayor and all of that's run on federal. So the conversion's right there in your local areas.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk to the mayor about on Thursday, is the conversions. That now that I understand the conversions and how they're happening, I have the ability to prevent them, and that's by not signing. However, I don't want to go through my life not signing. I want to be able to sign those documents so that they're recognized as a gift from myself, that my cup does overflow, that I'm not this bastard that record portrays.
Right, but would you agree? See, this is where I'm big on that record, and I would think from the time from the beginning until now, we were supposed to went forward in this prosperity and abundance, but yet we haven't done that based on our ignorance and lack of whatever, because of this satanic system, it would seem. Wouldn't we have an obligation to still fulfill that obligation of that from the individual to protect that record and everything that was created in that record, take possession of that and consciously do what's morally right?
Well, yeah, and that's that thing about protecting the identity of the person.
Right.
We just read it. Where was it? It was 15.
Because I think I look at that record, man, and that hit me pretty hard too when you realize that the G is silent in the word sign, and it would make sense to why the G was silenced, because hell, you didn't praise God anywhere in it.
Yep.
So I mean, that makes it all easy for me, because there's the foundation that really I stand on that spiritual side. And I think a lot of people have to come from that side. You can't come in the middle or at the top or the bottom. You got to come dead center, baby.
Yeah, and what he's talking about there, folks, is that G in the word sign, S-I-G-N, it's silent. So if the G is silent, then why is it pronounced pronounced sign, when S-I-N, if the G is silent, would be sin? It's a morpheme of the language that gets us distracted from what we're truly doing. Signature is a sign of your nature.
Yes.
You have to sign it in the correct capacity. Let them know what your nature is. You are the benefactor, not the trustee. Account, according to 15 U.S. Code 1693 A-A2, says the term account means a demand deposit, savings deposit, or other asset account. Those accounts are accounts of assets. Okay? And unless there's an actual tax duty capital transfer stamp on the instrumentalities, then there is no transfer. So by them taking your property and not providing you with the document proving that the capital transfer tax was paid, then there was no transfer. If there's no transfer, then it was theft. Pure and simple. And I'm not going to argue that with anybody. You can't prove any different according to the language. It has to be transferred by a certain manner. according to the law. And if the law doesn't show any evidence that that transfer was completed properly, then it shows that any property that was taken, despite not having evidence of the capital transfer tax being paid, then the transfer didn't happen according to law. That means it was theft.
So they say when two or more come together, that creator's in the midst. So if a man was going to fulfill the law and that will and legacy, why would he take advantage of his brothers and sisters?
Absolutely. And that's what we see with the Social Security Administration. Like I said, my mom worked for Social Security Administration for almost 30 years, and I guarantee you, she did not read this stuff. If she had, I have the inkling that she's got the heart that she might have done something different. I don't know. But we continue on with the reading of this, and it says, as described in regulations of the Bureau, established primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, but such term does not include an account held by a financial institution pursuant to a bona fide trust agreement. So the bona fide trust agreement is the Social Security account. And yet they're trying to say that that's not an asset account. That's the estate. That is the asset. That's all of the assets. As far as I know, can't remember the exact case, but it's in Black's Law 4th. I can look it up anytime. All real and personal effects encompass the entire estate. So that means everything that I do in real life and all of my thoughts and creations, those all encompass the estate. So even the document that I signed, SS5, that is an asset to me. It's got my effect on it. That's my asset. The next one, account under 31 USC 5318A-E1. Bank definitions. The following definitions shall apply with respect to a bank. Account. The term account means a formal banking or business relationship established to provide regular services, dealings, and other financial transactions, and includes a demand deposit, savings deposit, or other transaction or asset account, and a credit account or other extension of credit.
Well, where tribe says your name is also part of the estate, that'd be the vessel you're transporting, wouldn't it?
Yes, it's any name.
Right.
That's a derivative of your given and surname. And the surname is just the legacy name. It's the legacy name is what I prefer to call it. Other people call it the family name. The legal system calls it the last name. And so we see all it takes is just a partnership of some sort, and it's all, again, for the extension of credits, and they come from assets. Okay, the extension of credit comes from assets. Then the last one I've got, United States account. You knew we were coming to this, right? The term United States account means any financial account which is held by one or more specified United States persons or United States owned foreign entities. Unless the foreign financial institution elects to not have this paragraph apply, such term shall not include any depository account maintained by such financial institution if each holder of such account is a natural person. And With respect to each holder of such account, the aggregate value of all depository accounts held in whole or in part by such holder and maintained by the same financial institution which maintains such account does not exceed $50,000. What they're trying to do is prevent private banking. This is their monopoly scheme. You got to have most banks will not open a private banking account for you unless you have at least $1 million in assets. Such terms shall not include any financial account in a foreign financial institution if such account is held by another financial institution which meets the requirements of subsection B. So as soon as you open that bank account, you've already dismissed the account of the Social Security to do business through them. And now you're going to do business through a bank operating like a bank, acting like a bank, acting like a financial institution. Again, like I've said many times, I firmly believe that everything can be taken care of through the Social Security Administration because that's where it all derives from. And therefore, they are the true financial institution liable and obligated for all debts posted on that account. They merely extended the authorization to place public liability on the account to you by convincing you to get a Social Security card and act in such a fashion. Or if the holder of such account is otherwise subject to information reporting requirements, which the Secretary determines would make the reporting required by this section with respect to the United States accounts duplicative. Isn't that why they want you to hold an account yourself, so that there's a duplicate record, so that they can keep track themselves and hold you liable for that duplicate record holding? And Tribe says private family banks exist, but they operate through trusts. Yes, the trust, and like he says, private family banks exist, and that's because a family aggregately can easily have $1 million in assets. But an individual like myself, we don't have anything but that commercial paperwork. And we have to know how to put the value to that paperwork. That's the thing that they don't teach us. They don't teach us how to put value to the paperwork and how to qualify the signature so that we can benefit from that paperwork. Pure and simple. That's all it is. And with that, folks, that brings us to the end of our definitions for today. I will be back later tonight to do the Insanities stream. Wanted to do that last night, but I had a problem with my video card again. Tribe says, pro tip, trusts may limit interstate exchange, but postal money orders get around that. Yeah, your postal money orders are international. So you got to remember your post offices are international banks. They're international banks. Let me see here. Where was it? I saw. They were telling us that post offices are banks. Well, I imagine I'll come across it again and I'll point it out to you one of these days. But post offices are banks. And see, folks, they have those scales at the post office for international monetary exchanges. So, in other words, they can convert a ruble to Federal Reserve notes. They can convert a yen to Federal Reserve notes. They can convert Federal Reserve notes to yen.
Come here.
With that, you got anything else to say? There's Russ?
Nah, just as I always do. Hope everybody is the change starts to be the change they wish to see, and this world will be a whole lot better place.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a matter of working together and getting over this bridge of knowledge. Because again, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and the most important lesson in life is to teach another man to fish. As I say, is because not that he can feed himself for a lifetime, but now he has a talent that he can go forth and share, like it says in the parable of the talents. We're not supposed to bury our talents. We're supposed to share them. And that's the benefit, the knowledge. That's what we're truly supposed to share. I can share everything in my life. I can share my car with you. I can share my house with you. I can share all my fishing equipment with you. I can share all my survival equipment with you. But none of that has any real value unless you know how to use it. And that's the principle
Well,
behind it.
I think that right. I think through my journey, what I've learned, the biggest problem was the fear, and the only way I found to overcome that fear was through that spirituality and that God. So that's where I go with it. And but I got another thing that kind of bothers me. You see all of these auditors and things going to jail for some of this stuff that they're doing or whatnot. But I don't watch a lot of them. I just hear the chatter in the background. But one thing got me really a little uneasy was the whole delete laws one. I mean, because he called that gentleman a pig. Should he have done that? Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. But
Well,
as people, as people
we
of the community, I think we got to step back and realize: listen, if we're gonna fulfill the law here and hold everyone accountable, I mean, you got to come out and say, okay, he didn't. He might have hurt somebody's feelings there, but is this where our money's going?
Yeah, well, see, that's the same thing with this audit that we did this last week. Same situation. One of our brothers in the auditing community told the cop to suck his dick because he was
Right.
giving him a hard time in public. They were arresting somebody and he was across the street videoing. He crossed over. He was still on the sidewalk, still in the public, not interfering. There was a fence between him and the arrest, 30, 40 feet away, and the police wanted to get stupid with him. So he got stupid back. Granted, yeah, I've been there. I've called them fucking communist bastards. I told them to suck my dick and to fuck off, you know. And
Yeah.
I agree, it's not probably the brightest thing to do, but at the same time, there's also nothing illegal or unlawful about it. That
Right.
is one of the primary aspects of our life is our freedom to express ourselves in any manner, so long as we're not causing harm, damage, or injury. And when we get to placating that our emotions got hurt, that is not harm. That is not damage. Okay? I grew up in a very severely abusive family. And granted, you might see me as emotionally off, but I guarantee you, I carry my emotions very well. And despite all the anger, you can look at my videos here recently where I went to that council meeting and I spoke very plainly and clearly. I
I
didn't
saw it.
I didn't have to call anybody any names. I didn't have to get all emotional about it. But yet I made a very emotional statement that people should be able to comprehend. It pisses me off, but I don't have to act like it. I don't have to call them dirty names. I just let them know that I honestly believe that we're all turning into Hitler's willing executioners. And if that hurts anybody, I'm sorry. I really do not mean it to hurt because I understand I too was Hitler's willing executioner, willing to execute any document somebody put before me and just put a signature on it thinking that was it. It's done and over with. Only to have it come back and bite me years later. Now I know better. And I'm telling you, we are all becoming Hitler's willing executioners for the very lack of the knowledge of what was so recently impressed upon our history just 60 years ago. It's amazing.
I mean, it is. It's crazy. I mean, even just. I mean, I look at things like this as well too. If you go into a conversation with somebody with respect, I think respect is due. But whenever you try to talk to any public official or some highly educated, degreed, indoctrinated fool, all bets are off the table.
Yeah.
What? What?
Well, we're slowly making a change on that here in Waterloo. And like I said, folks, Waterloo has a higher crime rate than the rest of the nation. I mean, it's above the nation's average in all categories. And I'm not talking just a little bit. It's way above in all categories across the board, being higher than the nation's average crime rates in every category. And we are slowly making a change in the people that are enforcing these so that we will see a change in that. See, we have a high crime rate here, not because there's a lot of bad people, which, yeah, consequently there may be, but the people that are supposed to be enforcing the law are enforcing shit that they shouldn't. They're creating crimes that aren't there. They're accusing people of doing things that they didn't actually do. For crying out loud, I watched a video this morning where a gal took and pulled a guy over. It wasn't locally here, but he pulled a guy over, and he had one of them small bottles of whiskey on him in his car, but it was sealed. He had just gotten off work. He was on his way home. They pulled him over. This bitch took and did a search, of course, and then unsealed it, dumped it out, threw it back in the car, and then got him for DUI.
This is the insanity to me. And I don't know why people aren't outraged in this stuff and just lighten that place up with, knowledge and wisdom and say, wait a minute, people. All of you people took an oath. And none of this seems to be good to anybody.
Yeah.
It's insane.
If you take an oath, you better understand what that oath is. Because if you don't, and people like myself start coming together and gathering up, you're going to be found in treason. We don't want to have to hang you. We will, though.
Damn right. Damn right.
Tribe says, I heard someone gets robbed every 52 minutes in Waterloo. Waterloo has been stated several times, at least 5 times in the last 15 years, I believe, to be one of the worst cities in the nation because of that. They don't play games around here. It's a very rough city, and this is why I say I hate these bastard-ass cowards that think they can placate, that they have to walk these mean city streets. I've been doing it all my life and ain't never had a gun. Ain't never had any kind of weapon. And yet here I am. I'm still walking the same streets. And now you understand why I end up with a bike missing 2 years in a row. As if though it's my fault. Come on, Pete. It's not quite that bad. It's certainly not every 52 minutes. But there is a robbery almost every damn day here in Waterloo. Very high crime rate. Way above national average.
You ever heard of that sheriff in Clark County, Indiana, Jamie Knoll? He was the guy that I guess created that show 60 Days In.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, he's down on some corruption right now. He's in big time trouble here in Indiana. And, I don't know if this was all theatrics, but his bond hearing was yesterday. And per his bond deal, the judge allowed him to keep one shotgun for protection.
Yeah.
Did you see him slam that gavel down?
He gave him 60 days.
Yes.
Because they found.
Did you see the actual? Did you see him slam the gavel down though?
They found 2 semi-automatic pistols in his house.
Yeah. But P.I.G.S.C.U.N.T.S has been to his place over there, so he's those guys. They've been Well, you look. I mean, you know what the master commissioner knows. You know what's going on there, and all of these guys, they got a there's a tight net right here at the bottom at the local level, and they're dealing with the who is it? The Chicago Board of whatever for these transfers and all of this shit. So they're tight knit, and I think a lot of shit's going down here soon.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like I said, it's the gathering is getting greater and greater. It's more and more people are waking up to the concept of this freedom is only yours if you stand up and take responsibility for it yourself. So we've got an awakening that's progressing more and more as every day goes by. So it is going to work sooner or later.
Yeah, I'll go on the record now. I do a lot of things in the background. I've been pushing pretty hard down here on this whole Chile deal. I just I think at some point there needs to be an example of these people, but and give them as much information and wisdom as we can. And I think people need to reach out and help people like this, man. You know, that's horrific. What they're doing to Chile, they're doing to every one of you people out here. Every one of you and your children, they're doing the same thing to every one of you. You just ain't feeling the effects of it right now.
Right. And when it comes down to it, those are the cases that they're going to get hung for treason for. They're going to end up being convicted of treason for cases like that, because those are the most egregious ones. Now, if you got a guy that's going around robbing people, yeah, there might be situations where you might want to get a little rough with that guy. But to get rough with a guy that told you to suck his cock, that's a little bit different. And then to turn around and imprison him.
If you can't control your emotions, you're a dangerous person, and you may need to be in a cage.
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. People putting in other people in cages because they call them a name are the ones that belong in cages. You can't go around letting your emotions get you in all your feelers and everything and start using your emotions for the law. That's the problem. So
I've refrained. I've called everybody down there that I can think of that I know in this little line of corruption, except the judge's chambers, and I feel I'm gonna go ahead and do that one, and then they just had his bond hearing and would let him out again on the appeal. So I feel they've had their opportunity to do what's right, and they didn't do it. So now I'm just going to let those guys know, hey, what's going on here? There doesn't seem to be any facts anywhere other than based on hearsay and feelings and emotions. Period. The end.
Yeah.
And you think you're doing something beneficial for the American people and your children's futures?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna recommend anybody hire an attorney. If you have a court case, hire a fucking forensic securities audit.
Probably be cheaper.
Well, no,
depending on what the deal is, though,
Well, no, not only will it be cheaper, but you give that guy $4,000 to do a forensic securities audit on your court case. He's going to do that forensic securities audit, and they're going to turn around and write you a big ass check. So anyway, with that, you got anything else, brother?
Nope. What time are you going to be back tonight? 7?
6.
6?
6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
I'll see you then.
All right. Thanks for your
support. Much love, everybody.
You bet. Thanks for coming up, brother. And I do want to thank everybody for your support. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button below. There's a PayPal link down there for anybody who wants to share some love. It's always appreciated. Every little bit helps. In the meantime, you know me. I love you. But I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. And then say, I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. That's on you. So may God bless you and have a good night.